Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm going to talk about the few remaining classic Doctor Who stories I haven't seen yet, because I got to see a lot of them in 2022, which many of you actually sent me several of them to my P.O. box, which I appreciate, by the way. It's been really fun getting to see stories I haven't seen before, especially a lot of Season 2. I had not seen any of Season 2 this year, and now I've seen most of Season 2. I think the only ones I haven't seen are The Crusade, the Space Museum, and the Chase. So I really appreciate everybody sending everything. I do actually have the Space Museum and the Chase, but I think I'm going to wait for the box set to come out. Plus I need a little bit of a Hartnell break, because I've watched a lot of Hartnell this year, which I appreciate. But then I also got to see some 5th Doctor stuff, like somebody sent me Frontios. I got to see Time Warrior. I got to see Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Those were both high on my list. So it's been a really fun year to experience some classic Doctor Who for the first time. So today I'm going to talk about I think it's 21? I think 21 stories in classic Doctor Who that I haven't seen yet. And instead of just listing them, I'm going to list them by order from least to greatest that I'm most excited about them. So from least excited to most excited, these are the 21 Doctor Who stories from classic Doctor Who I haven't seen yet. And at the bottom, in 21st place, is Snake Dance. A lot of this is just down to the fact I have seen Kenda, and I do not like Kenda. It's one of my least favorite Doctor Who stories. Now, to be fair, I do want to see Snake Dance, because it could be better. Most classic Doctor Who stories have some redeeming parts of them, but then again, Kenda does not. So I don't know about that one. It could be good, but I dislike Kenda, and a lot of people tell me Kenda's the better of the two, so I'm really apprehensive about that one. In 20th place is the Censor Rights, mainly just because I did that one video, like the It's Armageddon video, and it was, what if you had to give up one story from each season of classic Doctor Who? And the response in the comments overwhelmingly was the Censor Rights for Season 1. It kept coming up. When I did the recap video later, when I was reading off y'all's comments, I was laughing about it. I was like, oh look, it's our friend the Censorites again. It kept coming up for Season 1. Just consistently, constantly. So apparently the Censorites is obviously the weakest story of Season 1. And it gave me such a chuckle that it's just kind of at the bottom of the list because I'm not expecting it to be super great. Number 19 on the list is The Massacre. I guess it's because I don't have much of an attachment to this one. I know Hartnell is in dual roles and that he has a really great speech at the end, but I tend not to like stories when the Doctor's in dual roles. Like Enemy of the World is good, but I find it massively overrated. Matter of fact, my favorite story where they do that's probably Meglos, because one, I just really like Meglos, and two, it actually makes sense to the plot why Tom Baker's playing two characters, why Meglos looks like the Doctor. That's actually part of the plot, which I like. That actually makes sense instead of just, hey, the Doctor randomly looks like this person. I never buy that. Next on the list is The Savages. Again, I don't know a lot about it other than Stephen leaves, and apparently it would be very easy to animate. Because that was always, I think, the one people kept thinking if we got another Hartnell, that's the one we would get next. Again, not up as high on my list. Hartnell's just not one of my favorite Doctors. I like him, especially now that I've got to see more of him, but he's not one of my favorite Doctors, so not high on the priority list. The next one is The Mythmakers. Now, I've read the novel for The Mythmakers, which is one of the reasons it's so low, because I do love, you know, the fall of Troy and stuff like that. I love that battle. I love the Iliad. I love the Odyssey. They're great stories. But I have read the novel for it, so that kind of tides me over there. Plus, I also know that is Vicky's last story, and I like Vicky a lot. But the reason it's so low is simply because I've read the book already and really like the book. Next on the list is The Space Museum, which I actually own, but again, I'm probably going to wait until the Blu-ray set comes out to watch. Just because I hear it's not that great. I mean, I don't know, but that's what I hear about it, is that it's not that great. That might be the one with the robotic Doctor in it, I forget. I don't hear much about it other than that, but just that it's not that great. Next on the list is Marco Polo. I have watched the 30-minute cut down on it, which I very much enjoyed, But Marco Polo is probably not going to get animated for a long time, and I don't know if I could could sit through 7 recon episodes of it without it starting to feel tedious. So knowing it would have to be a recon is why it's down that low. Next on the list is the Highlanders. And again, this is because I've read the novel already, so it's not as high on my priority list because I have read the novelization and really enjoyed it. And next on the list is the Time Monster, the one classic Doctor Who story I have started to watch and not finished just because I was that not interested in it. That, in fact, I'd watched a lot of Doctor Who up to that point and needed a bit of a breather. But I either watched the first episode or the first 2 episodes and was so unimpressed with it, I was like, I'll finish this later. Never got back to finishing it. That's why it's this low. It is... I have to say it's my least favorite Pertwee story because it's the only Pertwee story I've started and never finished. The next one on the list is The Invisible Enemy, the only Tom Baker story I haven't seen. I do want to see it because it's a Tom Baker story, but I don't want to see it because I'll have seen all of Tom Baker's stuff, so I won't have another Tom Baker to experience for the first time. That's going to break my heart, so that's the reason why it's not higher. That's the only Tom Baker story I haven't seen yet. Although it will be nice to see the introduction of K9 because I love K9. Although I do hear the story itself's kind of overall. And I know it has enhanced effects, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the enhanced effects. Next on the list is The Crusade. Again, I like medieval stuff. I've mentioned that before. I kind of like, knights and swords, Excalibur stuff. I tend to love all that kind of stuff. So even though Crusade is only partially complete and the final episode is missing, and many of you know it frustrates me when the final episode is missing, I still do really want to see it. Luckily, the season 2 box set's coming soon, and they seem to be doing really good reconstructions these days, so I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy The Crusade. Next on the list, at number 10, is Monster of Peladon. I liked Curse of Peladon a lot, so I've always wanted to see the sequel. I've heard Monster's not as good as Curse, but it's the only season 11 story I haven't seen yet, so it will complete that season for me. Plus, it'd be nice to see Alpha Centauri and the Ice Warriors again, and it's a Pertwee story, so I am looking forward to that. Number 9 on the list, The Mutants. I also hear The Mutants isn't that good, but I've never seen it. I tend to like season 9 as a whole, except for Time Monster, which we've discussed. But I love Day of the Daleks, Curse of Peladon, and Sea Devils. So I'm curious to see if the Mutants is any good. Plus, I know most of the Mutants has the original master tapes, so they're going to look good. I think 4 of the 6 episodes of the Mutants are the original master tapes. So the episodes will look pretty good. So I'm looking forward to it. And the next one on the list is The Smugglers. The reason The Smugglers is so high, I think, is primarily just because it's season 4. I really wish The Smugglers would get animated because I really want to get that season 4 box set out. Season 4 is my favorite Troutman season. And I think I just want it to get animated just because it's part of season 4. But just because I don't know a lot about it. I've seen a couple brief clips, like the guy getting the knife thrown in his back, and it seems intriguing at least to see what they're smuggling, what's going on. I don't actually know how good The Smugglers is, but for some reason it's one of those that intrigues me. So that's why it's this high on the list, even though it would be pretty much an all recon. Next on the list is The Celestial Toy Maker. I have read the novelization of this. It was a very long time ago, like back in the 90s, so it's hazy in my mind. Plus, though episode 4 does exist, I love when final episodes exist, so I could go through recons, but then actually get to see the final episode. I'd like that. Plus, I love Michael Goff. Michael Goff is amazing. So, yeah, that was that high because of those reasons. Next on the list is The Awakening. One of the reasons it's so high is I have no idea what happens in it. I know it's a 2-parter. Gonna guess there's some kind of awakening going on. Other than that, I don't know anything about it. It is one of those occasions where I get to go in with pretty much a blank slate. So I'm actually quite excited about that. So The Awakening is that high for that reason. Next on the list at number 5 is The Wheel in Space. This, again, the final episode does exist. So even though it won't be animated, I love when a final episode exists. Plus, a third of this story does exist. So you'd have 2 episodes of Recon, and then pretty much halfway through, you get episode 3 existing. Then you go back to Recons, then you have the final episode. I can work with that. I can tolerate that. Plus, it's Zoe's first episode. I love Zoe. She's one of my favorite companions, so I'm excited about that. I like when the Doctor has brainy companions. I can kind of keep up with him. Plus, it's a Troughton story, and I love Troughton. So, yeah, that one's that high for that reason. Number 4 on the list is The Chase. The Chase is an odd one, because some people seem to really like The Chase, and then some people don't really like The Chase. I get it has a humorous spin to it. But from some of the scenes that were in the season 2 trailer, some of those scenes look pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing The Chase. Plus I know it's Ian and Barbara's final story, and I like Ian and Barbara. London, 1965! So I actually want to see that. So The Chase is really high up on my list for all of those reasons. Number 3, now we're at number 3, is The Underwater Menace, and I'm surprised it's this high. I suspect it's because half of it exists, even though the final episode doesn't. Because, one, it's season 4 Troughton. I love season 4 Troughton. It's my favorite Troughton season. And because half of it exists. So I'd have to do a recon at the beginning, a recon at the end, and I'm sure it'll be a better recon than the ones for the DVD. That's the reason why I've never bought the DVDs, because I heard how crappy those recons are. But these days, they seem to do pretty good recons, so I'm sure we'd get brand new, good recons for episodes 1 and 4. And episodes 2 and 3 exist, so I can watch half the story. And I don't know, even though it's over-the-top, silly fun, I have a feeling I would still enjoy it. It would give me another Ben and Polly episode to watch. I'd like that. It would be Jamie's, first full story traveling with the TARDIS team after his introduction to Highlanders. I would enjoy seeing that this early in his run. For some reason, I really wish Underwater Menace had been animated. I really wanted it to get animated. That was kind of the special edition I was hoping we were going to get this year. I really would love Underwater Menace to get animated. It's really high on my list. Number 2 is Dalek's Master Plan, because it's Dalek's Master Plan. I mean, it's Dalek's Master Plan, this 12-piece epic Dalek story. Yes, I want to see that, naturally. I've seen the remake of Mission to the Unknown. It's a great teaser for the story. And yes, I would actually love to watch Dalek's Master Plan. Maybe we'll luck out and I'll animate it one day. And number 1 on the list is The King's Demons. Again, as I've said, I like those medieval knights in armor battling with swords stories. I love that kind of lore. I'm a huge King Arthur fan. I love the 1981 Excalibur movie. So I like stuff like that. I know the Master is in it. I know Davison gets to do some sword fighting. And I know it's only a 2-parter. And I know it has Chameleon in it, and I hate Chameleon, but I can try to look past that. But that's the one right now that I haven't seen that's really on my radar of, I want to see that. And I think it's part of Season 20, the final story of Season 20, not including 5 Doctors. So that Season 20 box set coming next year, hopefully I'll get to see it next summer, in less than a year. I'm excited about that. So King's Demon, number 1 on the list for now, even though it's a 2-parter. So I want to know, what do you think? What do you think of my list? What do you think of these stories? And let me know how you would rank these 21 stories. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you like what I do and would like to support what I do. There's a link to that down in the description below. I'd appreciate it if you take a second and check that out. I want to thank Stephen Crane and the 5th Doctor, 2 of my top-tier patron supporters. I appreciate them just as I do all of my patrons. Thank you very much. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to watch. A lot of Doctor Who I got to watch this year was from generous subscribers sending me stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you. And most importantly, thank you for watching.